The Shek Report, with Dave Damashek reporting.
Damashek here. Week 15's wrapped up, only 2 weeks of regular season football to go, so let's get right to it. Just remember, players and coaches, don't get angry at me if I call your name. Ultimately, I didn't do this to you. You did this to you. Let it begin! At number 5, Kirk Cousins, for earning himself a multi-million-dollar deal from a desperate pro football team based on his performance on Sunday. Yeah, Washington lost after they came up short on the two-point try. If a tie is like kissing your sister, now missing a two-point conversion when down one is like kissing your cousins. Either way, if Mike Shanahan's so concerned about keeping his young QB safe and sound for future days, he ought to bench Cousins. In other words, this sounds like a job for Grossman! And that reminds me, if you think things are dark in our nation's capital now, imagine if they lose their last two and get the first overall pick in the draft, which they'd have to give away to St. Louis, which they got in exchange for the draft pick they used a couple years ago on Kirk Cousins' backup. Symmetry. At number 4, the New York Giants, who on the highest scoring Sunday in NFL history scored 0. That's like being at the Oprah show and being the only person not to get a car. You get a car! You get a car! You get a car! You get a car! You don't get a car. By the way, even if the Seahawks didn't pull a Costanza and leave behind a hat made of rat fur, they're still going to be back in MetLife Stadium the first Sunday in February. Believe you me. At number 3, this weekend's post-game press conferences. Coach Shanahan walked out of his
to stop these reports from coming out or trying to...
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Tom Brady dropped a 4-letter bomb in his.
Make plenty of plays, so.
Fine, fellas. I'm no Pollyanna. Work blue all you want. My problem is, the guy who should have been mad after the game was Jamal Charles. He had 5 touchdowns in 42 minutes. Come on, Coach Andy Reid. The chance to tie Gale Sayers' record doesn't happen every day. You know, for someone who dresses like Santa, it sure can be a Grinch. Now it's time for this week's Get Out of Shame free card, which goes to Jerry Jones and Dan Snyder. Wait, hold on, Des. Let me explain for a second. I know this might be an unpopular opinion in D.C. and the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I don't understand people beating up on owners for being too involved. Their coaches, personnel guys, and players may not love it, but guess what? If I spent several $100 million on a toy, I'd probably want to play with it too. Back to the shameful. At number 2, this week's Tony Romo Award for place kick holding ineptitude goes to Dolphins punter/holder Brandon Fields. Turn around, the ball comes out of the general vicinity of... Oops. It proves once again what I've said a million times. Punters shouldn't be the placeholders. Quarterbacks should. Well, except for Tony Romo, obviously. And that brings me to number 1 and the brown paper bag of shame.
This looks like an interception all the way. This game is not to be believed.
Sorry to disagree, Joe Buck, but yes, it is. Matter of fact, if you've been watching Romo and the Cowboys, it's not just believable, it's expected. Well, except by Romo, obviously. He's the one who thought throwing with a chance to burn away the clock was a good idea. I don't think you can blame the head coach. It's kind of tough if your $20 million QB is great as long as the game's not on the line. That's as bad as not being able to give the ball to your superstar center because he can't make free throws, or having a QB who can't win if the freezer door on the fridge is left open.
I didn't do a good enough job of that tonight, and I will next time.
Next time? Tony, it's been 8 years. That's 3 head coaches, 2 diva wide receivers.
It's my quarterback.
At least 3 Incredible Hulk movies played by 3 different actors, and countless Rob Ford public blunders. 8 years. 8. As in 8-8. As in what the Cowboys' record is going to be for the 3rd straight season. That makes my Christmas wish a virtual impossibility, but please, Santa, I'm begging you, please give us a Peyton versus Romo Super Bowl. It'll look a lot like this. Except that'll get intercepted. Till next time, try not to embarrass yourselves. Ooh, if Eli got there, he threw even more interceptions.
Shame.